The history of Brazil begins with the arrival of the first indigenous peoples in the region around 8000 BC. The country was later colonized by the Portuguese in the 16th century, and became a major source of wealth for Portugal through the production of sugar and later gold and other minerals. Brazil gained independence from Portugal in 1822 and has since experienced periods of political instability, economic growth, and social upheaval. Pre-colonial era, indigenous peoples. The region now known as Brazil was inhabited by various indigenous peoples for thousands of years before the arrival of Europeans. These peoples lived in complex societies and developed sophisticated technologies, including agriculture, pottery, and metalworking. The largest indigenous groups in Brazil at the time of European contact were the Tupi and the Guarani. Colonial era, Portuguese rule and slavery. In 1500, the Portuguese navigator Pedro Álvares Cabral claimed the region of Brazil for Portugal. The Portuguese began to establish settlements along the coast and to exploit the region's natural resources, particularly sugar. To work on the sugar plantations, the Portuguese brought enslaved Africans to Brazil. Over the centuries, Brazil became the largest importer of African slaves in the world, with an estimated 4 to 5 million people brought to the country between the 16th and 19th centuries. In 1808, the Portuguese royal family fled to Brazil to escape the invasion of Portugal by Napoleon's forces. This marked a turning point in Brazilian history, as the country became the center of the Portuguese Empire and the royal family encouraged the development of Brazilian institutions and industries. Independence and empire. In 1822, Brazil declared independence from Portugal and became a constitutional monarchy under Emperor Pedro I. The early years of the empire were marked by political instability and regional conflicts, but the country eventually stabilized and experienced economic growth through the export of coffee and other commodities. In 1888, Brazil abolished slavery, becoming the last country in the Americas to do so. This marked a significant turning point in the country's history, as millions of enslaved Africans and their descendants were able to participate in Brazilian society as free citizens. Republic and military rule. In 1889, Brazil became a republic and the monarchy was abolished. The early years of the republic were marked by political instability and regional conflicts, as various factions vied for power. In the mid-20th century, Brazil experienced significant economic growth and modernization under President Juscelino Kubitschek, who launched a series of infrastructure projects and promoted industrialization. In 1964, a military coup overthrew the democratically elected government and established military rule in Brazil. The military regime was characterized by repression, censorship, and human rights abuses. The regime lasted until 1985, when a democratic government was restored. Recent history. Since the end of military rule, Brazil has experienced periods of economic growth and political stability, as well as periods of political turmoil and social unrest. The country has struggled with issues such as income inequality, corruption, and crime, but has also made progress in areas such as education, healthcare, and environmental protection. In recent years, Brazil has faced significant challenges, including a major corruption scandal involving top politicians and business leaders, and the COVID-19 pandemic, which has had a devastating impact on the country's health and economy. Despite these challenges, Brazil remains one of the largest and most dynamic countries in the world, with a rich and complex history that continues to shape its present and future.